Partnered by Times Influence.
An action-packed evening to exchange ideas and rejoice excellence in the construction equipment business. The Economic Times and Indian Construction Equipment Manufacturers Association ICEMA came together for the first time and laid out a platform to discuss and deliberate on the opportunities and challenges faced by the Indian construction equipment industry.
मैं यही कहूँगा कि जो भी जीतने वाले हैं उनको, और मैं जूरी की पसंद को मानता हूँ तेरी पसंद को जूरी, मस्का है एकदम झकास.
The event also highlighted the outstanding performers and the drivers behind the equipment industry and honoured them with the coveted ET ICEMA awards. The event was flagged off by Arvind Kumar Garg, President ICEMA.
I'm not the best looking person here because you have a gentleman here, Mr. Anil Kapoor. I welcome you to this fabulous program. Thank you very much for being here. And I'm sure, captains of industry, dignitaries from government, dignitaries from our customers, esteemed customers, financiers, the entire ecosystem is here. And it's my proud privilege to welcome all of you to this glittering evening. When we thought about this evening, because this is a very maiden effort, and when we thought about this evening, we thought in our minds, we imagined that it would be a nice evening, a glittering evening, but I can tell you honestly that having so many of you with such tremendous power and such financial strength and such knowledge and such experience in this room is a matter of great pride and privilege for ICEMA. And I must thank the entire team from ICEMA and the conference panel led by Mr. Vyas, who conceptualized this entire thing, and it's a maiden effort. I'm sure we've taken the first step, but I'm sure that this first step, like the Chinese saying goes, is just the first step in a journey of 1,000 miles, and we have a long, long way to go. ICEMA, as all of you know, is a premier organization of all the equipment manufacturers, the people who finance the equipment, the people who supply components to the industry. So it represents the voice of our industry. And we are here to serve you, our dear customers, to the best of our ability. And it is a matter of great privilege for me to welcome you all once again to this evening. I do not want to stand between you and the evening that lies ahead. But the 2-3 things that we are trying to do as a very progressive organization is, one, to look at skilling in a very big manner. We want to ensure that we contribute significantly to the enhancement of skill of our people. The population that we have, it's a very, very potent force. We have a very, very young population, and we have to ensure that they are gainfully employed, and we as an industry are trying to move in that direction. Also, as a very progressive organization, we are looking at safety, we are looking at emission norms, we are looking at the environment, and we are taking many, many more steps to ensure that we provide you with equipment that is contemporary, that is the latest state of the art, where digitalization has been adapted to the extent possible. And we would be very happy to have your feedback and your suggestions on what we can do as an industry. Similarly, I would like to thank government for listening to us. On many, many occasions, we have come to you and you have listened to us. You have taken those steps that we think are necessary. And we are looking forward to your support in ensuring that we become as good as anybody else in the rest of the world. Because we believe that India, the modern India that we all dream about, is an India which will be empowered, which will be, as I said, modern, which would be new, which would create huge opportunities for the people that we have and fulfill the dreams of all of us. And in this, we, as the builders to this nation, have a big role to play. And you as the community that executes the projects, and we, the ones who supply the equipment, we all have to come together to ensure that we reach out and we build an India which will be proud, which will be a force to reckon with in the years to come. And I don't want to, again, as I said, don't want to stand between you and the evening ahead. Just one word to say thank you very much for all the support that we've received from you. and welcome to this evening, and we look forward to doing more and better in the years to come. Thank you very much.
The event was meticulously curated into two parts. The first part saw a stellar lineup of industry stalwarts come together for a panel discussion on the topic of the regrowth of the construction equipment industry, positive policies and trends that will propel the industry forward.
I think we've got a very relevant and important topic, absolutely relevant for the audience here as well. From the point of view of saying that we want to look at the regrowth of the infrastructure in the construction sector, which directly impacts the construction equipment industry as well, which is what we have gathered here for. What I would like is that if I can request Mr. Saroop and Mr. Kanodia to help us with a bit of a perspective on the overall drivers for the growth on the construction sector and also the challenges as part of that.
Let me tell you, past few years have been slight challenge, and there have been issues which acted as the stumbling blocks. But things are settling down, and I think there are new perspectives that we have to start looking at. Talking about the impediments in generic sense, there are issues that need resolution and fast resolution. I'm talking about the disputes that exist in the construction industry, which is a very major bottleneck. As a matter of fact, that is one of the major reasons where our financial institutions and banks are facing the heat today, because there is much amount of money that is actually lying there unresolved. And the heartening news that I wanted to give you is that there are many new methods of dispute resolution in line with the international provisions, such as online dispute resolution. They have been adopted and enacted by the Government of India. That is something which is extremely heartening. The intent is to make sure that the disputes are resolved as fast as possible. I'm very sure the issues related to banks, their operation, availability of institutional financing, that is another issue that is going to be resolved in the times to come, and very quickly so, and that is again something very heartening.
So in this, I think what you brought out as an important point on the dispute resolution bit of it there. So I would request Sunil if you can just focus on that.
Well, I think 4 years back, I remember when this government came in, the industry per se had at least the national highway programs and the state highways. A lot of issues were there in the arbitration and disputes. As far as I recall, it was over 3 lakh crores. And I was having a meeting with the Prime Minister's office that time that how do we revive the construction industry? And my suggestion was that you need 2 things. One, you need a good bankruptcy law to come out to resolutions when there are challenges in the financial system. And I think this government did well to come out in about 2 years' time a bankruptcy law, which is a world-class law. Of course, some amendments later on has brought in impediments, but otherwise the law was good. The second is the Arbitration Act, which again was revised, I think about 1.5 to 2 years back, whereby an arbitration has to get completed within 12 months. And if appeal has to be on that, you need to submit 50% cash down. I think that's a very good development, which I'm sure going forward, it will improve the system. The third thing which they did basically was that in the interim, the past disputes, they created a policy. I would not say it's a very good policy, but at least it has given some leeway, whereby the old awards, which were stuck in the courts, if the awardee provides the bank guarantee, they get 75% of the money. So that has given some ease into the system, although not completely. So these are few things which has helped, and I think going forward, some of these changes and initiatives will definitely help the industry evolve better.
So if I can bring Mr. Pandey, on this, in terms of, if you can just touch upon a bit on the growth driver as well on the road side, and then focus on the dispute resolution a bit there.
As far as we are concerned, we are in the business of development and maintenance of the national highways as an agency of the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. As probably you all may be knowing that National Highway Development Project was one of the ambitious projects which we have taken up. The whole scope of NHDP was to cover around 50,000 kilometers of national highways. 30,000 we have already completed, 12,000 work in progress, and remaining 8,000 have been subsumed in another ambitious program of Government of India which has been launched last year in October. It's a Bharat Mala scheme. The point about dispute resolution, no doubt we know what are the challenges which we are facing. Dispute resolution is one of the biggest challenge. Government of India brought out number of policy changes, but we have gone one step ahead. We have constituted 2 conciliation committee. These conciliation committee is expert from the outside. It's a 3-member committee. There are 2 such committees. They are conciliating between me and the concessionaire and the contractor. This has been implemented last maybe around 8-9 months, and we have resolved number of disputes sitting across the table.
Mr. Kumar, if I can bring you here, from your perspective, what are your thoughts in saying, one is that what is stopping this resolution to happen, and what are the 3-4 factors which can drive this resolution process to get expedited?
Regarding resolution mechanism, NHAI is doing resolution mechanism. Then as Kanwar said, NCLT is there, Arbitration Act has been changed. And banks have to pay 75% if there is arbitration award against a guarantee. So as far as the banks are concerned, we are, to that extent, we are there. The main problem which we face in resolution is both time consuming. Banks don't have any mechanism internally except for restructuring, which virtually is not there now. So we face problems in the courts, we face problems in NCLT, it's time consuming. So banks, basically what banks face as a problem in resolution is asset liability mismatch when we are financing long-term projects with short-term financing.
Mr. Garg, if I bring you here, if I get your thoughts on what about mechanization as well. So from a technology perspective, since you're representing the construction equipment perspective as well in it, so if you can help us with some thoughts on that.
When I say that we are looking at bringing cost-effective solution to project execution, ultimately as an industry, we are trying to move forward. We are looking at digitalization in a very big manner because we see that adoption of technology. Somebody used the word disruptive technology. I do not know whether we are really ready for disruptive technology, but I'm sure that we are ready to adapt technology that is elsewhere available in the world, to bring it to this country and to bring premium products to our customers, which help them in cost-effective solutions, because ultimately, the government is the largest spender for building infrastructure, and it is my own belief that our industry deserves a very special status of being an industry that is contributing very, very significantly to the growth and the building of infrastructure. And since the government is the biggest spender, I would feel that a special status should be awarded and there should be incentivization for the industry, for the manufacturers, for the community that carries out the work, to ensure that work gets done quickly in a cost-effective manner and in a manner which helps in using limited resources to do much more than what we are doing today. And in this respect, I also feel very strongly that there are technologies available today, especially the hybrid equipment technology that is available in the world. And I think it is time for India, who is an importer of oil and where we have a very strong current account deficit, to look at incentivizing the adoption of hybrid technology into India.
So, Mr. Ramnath, your perspective on what are you doing as a differentiator from the driving the real estate activity in your state?
All of you are aware the state was formed around 4 years back. So it has taken nearly 48 months to do the master planning of the capital and other projects. Today the plan is in place. We have just started building. So right from the housing. Housing, so far we have tendered 450,000 houses in the urban sector. We have spent, the project is around 40,000 crores. Apart from urban housing, we have rural housing where we are building around 12 lakh houses. This is around 24,000 crores. So in addition to the housing in the government sector, we are also encouraging real estate in the private sector. We have a lot of greenfield opportunities. And we have estimated that we need in the next 5 years more than 2,40,000 crores. And also it gives an employment opportunity for engineers. Around 75,000 engineers are required for us to keep pace with the growth of the state. So these are great opportunities. I can invite all of you to register with APRERA. Very soon we'll be releasing the press ad. And also to visit. And APRERA will be glad to be the single point of contact to take you through the entire development process.
So if I may just request each one of you to, look back and, say that if you were to give one big idea to increase the government spending, because that is one of the biggest drivers from infrastructure growth part of view there, what is that one big thought that you would like to, place?
If we look at the mandate of the people in a democracy, there are two expenditure that the government primarily does now, either infrastructure or social expenditure. Both these two have to go hand in hand in order to boost the overall development. And I think that is now coming of age. It is getting there. We just need to push that. And what can happen, what the center can do, create the facilitating environment.
Actually, I am all for premiumization, and I also feel that the one big thing that the government can do is to look at the way the public procurement process is being handled. Today, there's a minimum qualification beyond which it's price. In my mind, it has to change. We need to grade. We need to have some merit score on either the equipment, the contracting community, whoever. Whoever is executing the job, we should be able to grade them, and there should be some premium given to somebody who does a better job than somebody else, rather than take everybody at the same level and say that now it's only a matter of price. So I think the public procurement process or the public award of contract process, whatever, needs to also undergo a change, because you can't get the best which you desire if you are willing to pay the least.
Mr. Kumar?
I totally agree, because the same problem we face in the banks of procurement and trying to get the best and paying the least, ending up in getting something which was either not good or not durable. We have to boost up private spending, and we should see that they don't, anybody who is trying to be an entrepreneur, who tries to build up road projects, participate in infrastructure, does not land up into a problem where he is defaulted with the bank and he goes into a different loop altogether.
Mr. Pandey, your thoughts on it?
Basically, when I'm talking from the experience of the road sector.
Sure.
What we do is we just go on watching what are the challenges we have. Say, for example, we knew that we failed in many of our projects because of the pre-construction activities. So we changed our system. Now what we are doing, until and unless I'll have completed all the pre-construction activities, I'll not award the work. Our documents are open. We always consult all the stakeholders. Whenever we get good input from them, we modify it.
Mr. Ramnath?
As a state government, we believe we have a very small window of opportunity. So any suggestions of improving or reducing the time to construct in terms of equipment, construction methodologies, construction technologies, most welcome. So we are looking at incentivizing in certain cases. If there is an improvement in terms of qualitative output or in terms of time saved, we can always find ways to incentivize from the state level. I'm sure if any of you are interested and come to the state, we'll try and find ways. We have a very progressive-minded Chief Minister who can take decisions at a very short notice.
With this, since we're completely out of time, I will thank my fellow panelists and thank you all as well. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been a fantastic audience.
May I request you to please put your hands together as I welcome on stage Mr. Devendra Kumar Vyas, convener, conference panel, ICEMA, to join us. So a round of applause for Mr. Vyas, please.
Thank you very much. We would like to thank the distinguished panelists. I think all the members, we had very good discussion on the CEO Conclave panel discussion. Excellent points just about our industry. I think I'd like to thank all the panelists, panel members for taking out time and coming here. I'd like to thank Economic Times for partnering with ICEMA and this award. We'd like to thank Knowledge Partner, KPMG. We'd We'd like to thank all our sponsors, which you saw the names on the board, all our sponsors. And of course, thank you to all of you for making it a grand success, taking out time and attending it. Actually, when we thought of doing a conference during BOMA, and as Mr. Garg said that time, that we were discussing about what to do differently in the conference. And every time we do conference during XCon, BOMA and other intervals. So we realized that, okay, let's do something different. And then we realized ICEMA as an industry represent today approximately 50,000 crore. We are over 50,000 crore of industry in the country. And we have this ICEMA as an apex body to really have, association. So what needs to be done is, ICEMA has a lot of engagement with all the stakeholders. How do we increase the connectivity and the engagement? And we thought the best way to connect with all the stakeholders is to felicitate them, to praise them, to really, give them the awards. And that is what this thought came. Let's connect emotionally with the people. Of course, we can go and raise our issues, we can share our thoughts, etc. But the best way to make your voice heard is connect yourself emotionally with everyone. And this is what this thought came. The only way to connect emotionally is talk about the person, praise them, felicitate them, and that's how this happened. I'm sure this property which got created, the Economic Times ICEMA Award, will achieve much higher heights going forward. It was just a beginning, as Mr. Garg said, just a first step, and we'll take care of this to next height with support of all of you. Thank you very much, thank you very much, thank you very much.
With a promise to engage further and continue to deliver excellence in the construction equipment industry, ET ICEMA also honored the best performers in the construction equipment industry. We get you the coveted ceremony and the winners of the ET ICEMA Awards next week.
Partnered by Times Influence.